But she can also burn through your HP pool pretty quickly if you're not too careful. So I can't say I'm so confident in Tundra that they're just gonna just beat them that bad. 8-1 odds is kind of crazy to me. I don't think it's that lopsided.
I think also just takes into account like past results, right? Like how well Tundra's done throughout the year. Even though, again, they're currently 0-1 in Wallachia, not a position a lot of people would have expected coming in after day one. But this is still Tundra. This is still a team you can't count out. I think back to your point of melting the Husker, it's going to be a challenge because you have Kunkka. But if Crystallis connects with a boat, I don't know if you're going to find a burst window on BZM. Now, that is the issue. You do have some ways of expanding that durability on the Husker and even on that Axe combination we were talking about in the draft. So I think you have some good solutions here on Tundra. It's just a matter of executing in lane, which again, a tiny lane for Huskers should be pretty damn good here for BZM. I don't expect that much play from Obey. We always talk about how miserable it is for a tiny to get late blink timing on mid. I don't know if you can count on a fast one here from Obey in this game.
No, I don't think you can, John. I don't think you quite can, but we'll give him credit, John. We'll see what he does here, as we are going to get a 2-for-2 trade on the bounty, so a nice even start. It is certainly going to be probably a pretty horrific lane here for our mid-tiny of Mobay. Well, that Husker pick just really quite valuable here, like not only winning out the mid lane just based off the hero picks, but again, against the TA, you tend to have a very good time as Husker. Let's see what he does though, Mobay. I mean, there are ways to play around it. Your first levels are going to be okay. You can try to abuse toss, but you don't have that many with your low mana pool. We saw, I think it was Quinn was trying to stack creep waves in a pretty awkward position just yesterday. So I can imagine Mobay just trying to double stack the creep waves and avoid the Husker matchup. But it's still very challenging because they just end up diving you past their own tier 1.
Yeah. Again, there's not as much playback here from Mobay being a melee hero into Husker. As mid-tiny, you always start off with the tree grabs. You don't have that early threat with Avalanche or a toss back. By the time you hit level 2, you have to deal with Berserker's Blood as well. So again, Avalanche tossback might not be enough. And it's just down to how much you can get away with on Mobay and how little and how well you can manage your HP, because you really won't have too much room here to play as the tiny unless BZM just severely missteps at some point, which I doubt we'll see from a player like him. Looking at the tri-lane view, of course, seeing some interesting pulls out from Desire. This is what you'd want to do with a Shaker support. He does have that Resonance Ridge facet, so it's that mini little Echo Slam from the Fissure later on. And then, again, it's going to be quite nice to see when these melee heroes start to clump up. In lane, not quite effective. It's the same gameplay for Shaker as it always has been since creep pulls were a thing. Just pull back, soak EXP, hope for the best. Sibe is still finding some good CS. And he's managing his Eidolons pretty damn well, not putting them in the firing line of Crystallis. So you're putting a bit of a damper on this Kunkka's lane. You are getting what you'd want. There's not much punishment from White One. That's the thing with a Rubik support. If you can try to chase for the pulse, you aren't really a threat. So you can't really do much to dissuade them from just getting free XP. And that is something AVULUS should seek to constantly fall back and build up on, because there's just no punishing the pulse here.
No, there is not. Top lane as well, and Smiling Knight's going to be there with Fly against 33 and Saksa. Pretty chill lane so far. Like, there has been a bit of harassment traded between Saksa and Fly, but overall not too much. As bottom lane, they are chasing down Whitemon, and Whitemon's certainly going to die as Zibe able to secure first blood on the Enigma. A very strong start for him. Crystallis, he's going to try and harass him out a little bit. Really can't do too much yet as that level 3 Kunkka. And so already AVULUS off to a good start.
Again, this is what they need to do. Utilize that weaker lane coming in here from Tundra. Again, there's only so much Kunkka can do. He's clearing out the Eidolons slowly. Yeah, but there's not much relief that can come in from Whitebond. And it's really just down to having to run a Rubik 5 in current day Dota. Just doesn't do enough in the laning phase. Again, the pulls are just consistent. You're getting free EXP. You've got the Chain Stun combo with that Fissure along with Malphus. Whitemon's in a really ugly spot, but at least Cive is not healthy enough to try to chase. But you are seeing, again, just the potential on that bot. A little bit of aggression still standing as well in the other lanes. We're seeing some good poking out. Lane on mid starting to ramp up. You've got the level 2 Burning Spears. Mobay is not going to be happy with this one. At the very least, he's only about 3 CS behind. which isn't too bad, but if he doesn't get consistent bottle refills, he's not going to be feeling very comfy. Already down, eating up through that water rune top-up already. Not going to be feeling good once BZM decides to run up and just spam some more spears onto him.
No, it's so horrific right now for Mobay. He's still finding farm, though. You got to give him credit for that. He's still 12-1 on this Tiny. So 5 CS behind the Husker. Really not as bad as you'd expect for this mid-Tiny. So credit where credit is due. Obviously, BZM still outright winning the lane matchup very easily. But at the very least, Mobay is finding angles to secure some CS. It's still going to be a very slow blink timing, though, unless he finds a few kills across the map. But so far, so good. He hasn't really died yet. He's got his bottle. I thought there'd be a little bit more pressure, but it really hasn't felt that way.
I think that's also just goes back to, again, how their lanes are going. Bot lane, we're seeing, again, Whitemon can't do too much. A top lane, there's a lot of aggression onto Turkey Tree and onto Saksa. They haven't been able to really line up for some early calls. You've got level 2 refraction up now. There's a lot of damage coming in from Smiling Light with that refractor. And of course, with the level 2 Liquid Fire, Liquid Frost available on Fly, turning here is a little bit risky.
Oh, you might lose Fly here. Fly getting a little bit too close. A very nice call as well from 33. Also catching Smiling Knight. You got to be so careful against 33. Look, he's got 3 rings of protection, John, on this axe. Like, he's got a lot of armor. That Jakiro, it's doing nothing with those dual attacks. And I mean, this TA kind of just tickling this axe at the moment.
Yeah, I like this from 33. It's the rings of protection, since they're also this early earn to allow him to sustain the lane. Have a little bit more armor on top as well. Like 8 armor, you're not scared of the melt strikes. You're not scared of, as you said, the double hits from that Jakiro. You are maybe more worried about dual Brett, but Fly again pumped up the Liquid Frost, Liquid Fire, so you don't have access to the higher DOT here in this lane.
I think my favorite part about it all is he had 4 rings of protection because he made an earn, John. So it's,
yeah,
he actually
exactly.
had 4 of them in total at one stage, and it's just like, it's wonderful. They can't do anything against him. He doesn't need any regen. He's got an earn, he'll be right. I love it. Not something you see every day. But it's a nice little variation from the Vanguard Blade Mail Blink build-up, which I'm sure he's still going to be going for the Blade Mail Blink, but you get my point, John.
Yeah.
Fly, he'll be okay.
Ooh.
Mid lane's where all the action seems to be breaking out because there is a 6-minute power rune. But sadly, for Mobay, he gets unlucky. It doesn't spawn bottom. And so it probably will just be lost to BZM.
Yeah, and that's a rune that will allow BZM to maybe even consider a dive. They're still setting up with Saksa hanging back. They could look to play if they really want to.
He levels up life break. They want to go. Meanwhile, 33 going pretty deep up at that top lane, though he's still barely alive, but not for long as they do take down Mobay in the mid lane. The Tiny losing his courier and his life. Not the worst situation in the world for AVULUS, but this mid Tiny, it's not going to have a game at this stage.
No, certainly not. Again, we talk about the blink timing. We talk about all this tempo mid Tiny needs to have. Not really lining up. Even aggression down bot. They're not leaving Sibe alone into the 7-minute mark for the Shrine of Wisdom. No contest out from Sibe. Has to give it away. Maybe up top here?
Well, they're trying. 33 not really looking to back off. There's more heroes incoming. Here comes a scary one into the BZM Husker. And they cannot deal with 33 at all. He is just too damn tanky. And BZM, I mean, once this Husker shows up, you've got 0 players AVULUS at the moment.
No, you just don't have that any way of bursting him down, at least until maybe your TA is ready. You can try to physically go for it, but Smiling Light's not going to be comfy in that situation either, considering how threatening BZM is. He's almost got the full armlet up, already flying in now. So Brown Boots armlet up for Husker, #1 in net worth, hitting all of these early spikes you're looking for on the side of Tundra. You managed to get the double Shrines of Wisdom as well, getting a little bit extra EXP onto Tree. Has that dunk set to go. Not going to be too hard to just dive a tier 1 and look for a freebie dunk if you'd want to. Again, every lane so far just going Tundra's way. A little bit of a slower start for AVULUS. It's going to be hard to find that tempo with just a weakened Tiny. But if you get levels up in your supports and this offlane Enigma, perhaps you can start to think about at least maybe going for a siege. You have really good tower take with Jakiro Enigma. maybe once you see Tundra commit elsewhere, you can start to consider a little bit more of a rat play almost, or at least just pressure on tier 1s. That's one way to kind of buy yourself space back. You got to appreciate the wards here from Tundra, though. Already nice and deep early on, that ward up top, watching the river, watching the entrance of the secret shop down bot, still maintaining that river ward as well, near the triangle down bot. Like, they've got a good eye as to where you'd want to normally swing as a core to farm or as a support to rotate. It just allows them to keep control in this game and maintain that control with the movement across the map with no risks here.
Absolutely does. Tundra, no stress whatsoever on this Radiant side at the moment. They are just chilling, enjoying life, knowing they're in a very, very strong position. Even just 9 minutes into the game already. 33 now going for a Blade Mail build up on the Axe. Again, very standard. Is opting for the Blade Mail before the Blink, but I think that's perfectly fine. Just helps you escalate in the farm game a little bit more. The Smiling Knight is currently being watched by Saxa. What's wrong, John?
You gotta appreciate it too. You get the chip vest plus Blade Mail. So much return damage for free. Free real estate.
It is nice. It is very nice. Saxa? Still being chased down, but it's hard to see a kill happening here for the Smiling Knight. He just doesn't really have the damage output, nor the ability to close the gap and get a Meld Strike in. It's pretty hard days already for AVULUS here in this game 1. And yeah, like I said, they're going to try for 33, but he's got a lot of tank ability here. He's going to turn with the call out, but no helping coming yet as he goes for a dunk on the creep. Fair enough.
I appreciate that. That's nice. You know, there was a time a long time ago, wasn't there, where Calm Blade wouldn't disappear on a creep dunk, right? Was there? You just dunk it on creep and try to push every now, or it was a lower cooldown at least, either or. And I remember it was a valid thing to do. A very long time. I'm thinking like 2013 or so, maybe 2014. Remember, that's something to do. I mean, hey, he's being efficient, good old 33. He knows he's not going to get the dunk play anytime soon. Might as well get a free creep before you die. Make it hurt a little bit less. A big kill for AVULUS to find. These cores are getting a little bit farmed up. Down mid, though.
Oh, but they just won't leave him alone. They're just bullying him now. They're just bullying him now. Like, this mid tiny. Mobay, he can't do anything. Like, there's nothing that he's done wrong here on this tiny hero. It's the nature of the matchup. It's the nature of the hero. And you saw so many times in that mid lane, he was trying to pull the creep wave away from BZM, but just every time he'd get close, he'd take 10 fire spears and just be one hit away from dying every time. It's just, how do you recover on this tiny now? I feel like you've got to try for kills with your squad, but the draft, it's not really an active draft. Like, this is a draft that wants to sit back and just slowly chip away your objectives and just take farm off the map. Maybe bottom lane they could think. After going after Chrysalis, they are moving in. Zibe, he does have the black hole. The Kunkka pretty tanky though with the boat being thrown out. And even has that just casual talisman of the evasion at the moment. So Zibe seeing absolutely no reason to throw black hole, especially because you had Whitemon around the corner. And that's another thing as well, like, even if Rubik doesn't feel great in this meta, if you're choosing a Nigma Shaker, I feel like you've got to ban out the Rubik. There's just too much value.
Oh,
Mid,
man.
They're trying for BZM, but there's just no chance. Whitemon's there again with the Avalanche. Desire might actually just slowly die here. And yeah, he's gone. He can do nothing about it. Meanwhile, mid, they'll get Whitemon, but here comes BZM looking for the good trade. He'll find the tiny and now finds a... Cool guys, don't look at explosions. He turns his back on Fly as he burns alive. And it's just getting worse, John. The thing is, this is just BZM. You're going to have to worry about 33 in a couple minutes with a blink up and a full blade mail. You know, Crystallis really hasn't gotten involved at all.
No.
It's tough.
It's not getting any easier. For AVULUS, again, they're kind of banking on either a really good split push, which isn't coming out because your lane's lost out pretty hard, or some wombo combo team fights, which will take a lot of farm to get those blinks initialized, right? Like, the blink on Mobe is going to be a little bit stalled out. We're 13 minutes in. He's still down 1,000 gold. You're trying to farm up as well for Desire for his own blink to play with the Slam. You probably will try to hang back on Sibe. I think Blink Black Hole is just not something you can dream of in this game until you have more protection. So it has to be the Tiny and Shaker that commits first. And again, that's just time. I think the one silver lining for AVULUS is you have gotten more space out for Smiling Knight. Dragonlance is up, one Mithril Hammer up into that Desolator. So some initial timings for the TAs there. Number 2 in net worth. Hasn't been pressured too hard, all things considered in this game. So there's something to play with. But again, it just needs more time. At the least, it doesn't look like Tundra's pushing the envelope too hard. They haven't been pressuring onto tier 2s, not even shoving into the top tier 1. They're also happy enough to farm until, say, the Radiance comes in, until that Blink with the Blade Mail comes up. So it's just relaxed. It's just a matter of, will you be able to find those openings once that farm comes in? Will your farm timings line up for these initial blinks on AVULUS? It doesn't feel like it's coming in quick enough, but, you know, again, they're not losing ground yet, so you do have a lot of room to play catch-up here.
I mean, you do, but I'm just so much more concerned about what Tundra's going to do with this time and space. You know, like 33, he's had the freest game after that laning stage. He's working towards that blink now. Crystalis, he's about to have the full Radiance up. In fact, he has the gold for us. Just needs to get to the secret drop, but they are going to jump him. Oh, Black Hole out as well. They're going to try their hardest to blow him up in time, and they've got him. A very nice kill. Though he did manage to buy the Sacred Relic just before he died. So at the very least, the Kunkka doesn't really lose out on anything.
Not too much, but an important kill still to find. You just want to get Black Hole on cooldown. You want to find a kill. You want to get some pressure out with the drums up on Sibe. And he is getting some good siege potential down bot, although not enough to really clear it out fully, as there is still time for the defense to come in. Black Hole down. So no big team fight potential. You do have at least maybe the Ice Path for control. Then they're setting up here in Tundra to play back or at least clear these creeps. And until you find this objective, you're not the comfiest here. You need to start to deny space away on AVULUS. They're about to blink the Mobe.
They're jumping in. They'll find Saksa. That's a start. Starlet's going to try and trade here by taking Desire's life away, and he'll get that too. Be fearful as well, Chun. White one's got Fisher up now on the Rubik. This could get very, very spicy. Here we go. Jump in from BZM. They're going to try and jump him back here on the Husker. He's perfectly fine. They're looking for the healing Lotuses, but no BZM. The armlet toggle a little bit off. Getting caught by Fly. And suddenly AVULUS finding a very good kill. As Waimon also dies. Crystalis to go down to Mobe. And AVULUS showing us signs of life as it's a huge fight for him.
And it is. Tundra just pushing the envelope a little bit too hard. Trying to chase out quite further than they'd want, especially without 33 showing up. So you don't have the axe to try to be that big body in front. You don't manage to really utilize the boat in a big way. Aside from just catching out one and getting that buff up on Crystalis. And you do find punishment on AVULUS. That drags it back to an even game, 9-9. 2k lead for Tundra still up. But it is much more manageable now for AVULUS. And again, that blink timing does pan out for Mobe. It allows him to get that initiation. You have enough for Desire's blink. Smiling Knight.
There's a bit of a jump in. They are going to find Smiling Knight. That's a little bit of a concern. That's your carry TA just getting destroyed here by 33. And of course, Saksa. So again, great fight, but you're going to be a little bit wary of these small pickoffs that can happen across the map. And that was a fight without 33. Now he's got the blink up. Again, with the Blade Mail, he's completely online, ready to go. Mid lane, they are going to find Whitemon, though, so another nice kill here with the setup of Mobe. This is where, if you're AVULUS, you've got to be maybe a little bit careful. Because again, the blink call is up. In fact, it seems like 33 is going to wait till he has the full shards up as well. Which is also perfectly fine. Jump in again, mid lane. Saksa will take down Fly, but Mobe is on his tail. Gets a toss up. That's going to be a very nice pickup here for the Tiny.
He trades some supports. An important one still to keep that build up for Mobe. Again, you do have double blink timing up for AVULUS as well. Shaker, Desire has his ready with a slam. And Sibe is going back for his blink after finishing up the Spirit Vessel with drums. So the teamfight potential is kicking in. This is where Tundra has to show some outplay potential. 33 takes a risk with a call. Doesn't quite catch anyone on the rune spawn. Is bought with a regen. But I mean, for AVULUS, again, the timings are lining up. Smiling Knight already has 3 out of 3 of the initial items for the TA that we talk about. Desolator, Dragonlance, and Blink ready. They just need to make a connection, win a big team fight, perhaps look for Roche. They could look to force a 5v5. It's Tundra that's smoked up, though. And 33 ready with that Blink. We'll want to start to get some plays going. He's got that full shard done. A lot of damage now with these stacking Battle Hungries here.
Oh, it is, and it's so hard for the TA to get caught in one of the calls, because that Battle Hunger is just going to burn through your refraction charges so quickly with the urn that he has as well. 33 is going to see them, jumps in for the call, only finds one of them, but they've gone through the refraction. Still 33 is burning alive right now, and he will go down. It's a good start for AVULUS. They found him in the perfect choke point. 33, he would have loved to have some vision in that dire jungle, because it could have been an amazing call, but AVULUS maybe a little bit quicker to react. You love to see it for AVULUS' sake, John. They're still, even though the draft is just so much stronger, it feels like, for Tundra at the moment, AVULUS, they're still finding ways to fight back.
And it's a little bit concerning for the side of Tundra to get into this point where AVULUS is at equal footing or ahead of you. Just because, again, this TA's damage skyrockets. It's down to execution for both sides. Slam.
Top lane. Desire straight in with the Echo. Hasn't found the kill on Tasatsa. In fact, a turnaround. 33 jumps in. One dunk is out. Maybe a second, but 33 now surrounded. Has the boat back up, but they do take down Fly, but the black hole. Oh, it's cancelled by Whitemon. And he's got the black hole stolen now, John. Be careful, boys. This man's quick.
Oh yeah, it's getting a little bit scary. Again, it's just down to execution for both sides. It's a lot easier to execute for Tundra because they don't have to look for these lineups. They don't have to worry about the back line as much. No, they're not worried about any belts being stolen. It's AVULUS that always has to think twice when they commit. Can you jump in? Is Whitemon around with a cancel? Is Whitemon around with a steal? Makes it so much harder to try to play. They'll try to contest for the Tormentor, a very obvious move from Tundra, but could be a bit risky here.
They're going to try, surely. Everyone's so low HP. Fish are not going to land in time. Maybe they can find Crystallis, though. He is still behind. Desire going to keep track of him, as he has really nowhere to go. He's just trapped in the tree line. And so he will die. Not the worst situation for AVULUS. Like, you lose a Tormentor, but you find the opposing POS 1. I'd say they're pretty happy with that.
They're happy enough. I think not killing Whitemon is still a major threat. The fact that the Rubik's still alive with Black Hole ready is not a pleasant feeling for AVULUS whatsoever. So you're always, again, second guessing yourself when you're going to try to go for a big clump up move, when you're trying to find these isolated heroes that you're picking off. You have to always wonder, is Whitemon around? Is he going to be able to turn? Is the Black Hole going to turn against us? I mean, Whitemon's going for his own Blink next. Love to pick up into the early Aether Lens as well, just doubling down on more reach. And once he has that Blink, you have easier teamfight initiation lined up again for Tundra. An easy way to follow through for 33 with his own Blink. Still AVULUS clumping around, looking to hunt down bot. Do have good vision here. They did see 33 for the moment, but Tundra's ready for their own smoke. This could be a pretty back and forth one if you're not ready.
Let's see who they can find. Mabay narrowly going to avoid the smoke rotation of Tundra. They could find Zibe first. Zibe, though, realizing they are probably chasing him down, has backed off. Oh, Zibe, he's looking for the creeps. He wanted the large camp. It was just about to respawn, but it was just too tempting for him. He couldn't say no. At least Fly will TP out. They can't stop that. But Roshan is available, and they are beelining right for the pit.
It's not the slowest Roshan we have. A Husker, of course. Should be able to find us nice and quick. Teamfight ults are still up outside of Black Hole. They could try to contest here, and the scan is good. But again, you have to always second guess yourself. Is Whitemon around? Does he still have Black Hole? He doesn't have it for too long, though. So there is a window here once that fades away where you could potentially contest. But again, it falls too quick. With the burning spears up, it just doesn't take too long for BZM. A secondary life in the Husker is just a nightmare scenario here. Whitemon.
There goes your Black Hole. Whitemon just using it before it expires. Yeah, he just up for BZM now. Yeah, you've got to use it at some point, John. You can't just hold it there until it expires. That's a bit boring.
No.
So
Yeah.
it's still a pretty close game, all things being said and done. It's just a 2k advantage the way of Tundra. The thing is, all your farm is on Smiling Knight, and the moment they take care of the TA in the fight, like, it's just completely over for AVULUS. It just feels like there's no counterplay. So you do have that concern where it does feel like they've got a lot of answers here for this TA, if they can catch him with a nice call. Question is, you know, can Smiling Knight be the hero that they need and just avoid these kind of big initiations?
I mean, he's going to have to rely on his team, right? Like, it has to be someone else on AVULUS that starts. Mobe, Sibe, or Desire has to kind of take the mantle up, jump in first, commit, allow the TA to kind of be an assassin, look for the side, look for the flanking movement, look for the rear, or wait for that full commitment out from Tundra first, and follow through as almost cleanup duty after the initial jump in is made. So I think it's just, again, down to execution for both sides. The payoffs for AVULUS is quite a fair bit higher, to be fair. If there's a big 5-man clump up, you know, you've got Black Hole, you've got Slam, you've got Ice Pat, Macro Pyre, Avalanche Toss as well. There's a lot of control in there. Tundra's is still impressive with the boat, with the torrent, with the call, like you mentioned. But it feels like you kind of only have like one big shot. And once you find a hole here from AVULUS, you can bust it open. Flight out.
At that flight. Not too big of a deal for AVULUS. Just a freebie here for Saksa. It has felt like, even though there's quite a few kills going on here, it has felt like a slower game between these two teams. Probably based off the fact that you're waiting for these huge team fights with these big ultis, but they're just never coming. Which is again why, if you're going to pick these kind of Enigma heroes, you probably want to ban Rubik, because here we go. BZM jumping in with his BKB against Mobe's BKB. Both of them running away. Zibe looking for the black hole, but doesn't want to commit it into the Glimmer Cape, or the Aegis for that matter. Just drops a Midnight Pulse and immediately leaves.
Yeah, it's that tension. And I think it's also down to the fact that a lot of these kills, outside of like 1 or 2 wider fights, have mainly been pickoffs, right? One side losing supports, the other side losing supports. Maybe a core pickoff here and there when they're farming a little bit further. But we haven't seen that like massive commitment in a while from both sides for a 5v5. It's just much more measured, much more cautious, especially from AVULUS, which, well, I do understand their position. Again, it's much more punishing for them if they miss out in a team fight, if they misuse their spells, if they hand a freebie over to Whitemon. There's just a lot of concern that has to come in when you are engaging. And speaking of Whitemon, he does have his blink up. So it's going to be easier to get these steals. It's going to be easier to counter-initiate, to actually initiate for your team. He's going for the Ags build-up as well with Force Staff, which you do appreciate. A little bit far forward here.
Certainly is Saksa. You can make the argument this is all information, I guess. It's just supports dying anyway. Like, these cores are completely out of sight right now, just hanging by the jungle. Though top lane, they might be forced to fight now. Maybe. Depending where the Tundra want to go. They've got a BKB up as well on 33, so he's feeling a lot safer now.
Oh,
Whitemon has already been caught out with an avalanche. Ice Path is there as well, 33. He blinked right into it, and oh, it's just messy, isn't it, John? It's just a little bit messy as Whitemon on 33 will both go down. And the Ice Paths and fly, I mean, it wasn't anything special. It was just a nice Ice Path.
And it is. You have to respect, again, all of this AoE control that you do have from AVULUS that's very low committal. There's not long cooldowns, just standard spells. They have a lot to play with outside of just those big ultimates. And you have to be very careful with Whitemon's position. Like, again, you have to remember TA traps are there, giving a lot of vision into that back line. If you lose your Rubik, the wider team fight suddenly becomes a lot easier to play for AVULUS. They're not as worried about committing, especially if you find the Rubik and the Axe. These are like the 2 most important ones to take care of for the counterfight potential from Tundra. So you just, again, have to be cautious with that positioning. You have to respect the traps, which have been pretty on point from Smiling Light to give that vision away. You don't have that many sentries to play with right now on the side of Tundra, although you are hanging on to tree here for Whitemon. So you should start to get that clearing work done here. Still holding steady, 16 to 18, less than 1k lead for Tundra. I would say if this game scales on, it does start to feel better and better for AVULUS because, you know, you're playing into BKBs, you've got Black Hole, eventually you'll get a BKB on Sibe, less to worry about. just narrowing it down to maybe a wider call on the edge or the stolen black hole, which can happen.
Oh, Mobay. BKB off, but BZM's going to be there with the life break. He's taunted BZM. He had the ags ready. They've got the call as well. Mobay is going nowhere as they dunk on him here with 33. Looking for more. Sibe was spotted, but Blink is not available here for 33, so no jump to come. But a very nice start. But Tundra, are they going to capitalize by taking anything? It doesn't really seem like. They don't have a Roshan to play for. There's only tier 2 out of towers to play for, and it seems like they're not really too interested in them at the moment.
No. I think that's a fine call. You didn't really get a lot out from AVULUS, so you're still worried about clumping up 5v5 into Black Hole, into Slam, into Macropyre, Ice Pat, and all the damage coming in from Smiling Knight. So you're happy enough to sit back, try to get more out, and BZM's working into his full Satanic at this point. Crystallis into an AC that will help.
Oh, this could be scary.
Catch out Whitemon.
Should be dead and will go down, but the chase now goes on from Crystallis, looking to go onto the Shaker. Desire will be left behind. So another 1-for-1 trade on supports. They are around the bottom tier 2 tower here, Tundra, but it seems like they're in their no-risk mode, and they will look to retreat and perhaps wait for the next Roshan attempt.
Again, understandable here from Tundra. It does feel like, you know, you're taking all of these fights without calculating Smiling Knight and his damage in. So I respect that. Crystallis really wants the full AC. He wants to be able to, again, have more armor to play with, not get instantly bursted. A bit of a chase on Soxa. Not a full commitment.
He's going to be all right. Smiling Knight lost a pretty big courier, I do believe. It had the full Daedalus on it, from what I could see. So Smiling Knight not going to be too impressed with that. So 3 minutes he has that available now. So chances are AVULUS going to be trying to avoid any kind of team fight. Till then, Tundra again not really moving an inch either.
No. Again, I will say, it's... I still feel like the late game scenario is maybe just slightly easier for AVULUS, but you can't count out Tundra. They do have their own debuff immunity pierce with a call, with that Ags upgraded life break on hand. There's still a lot to play with. You have to be very smart with your initiation on AVULUS. You have to be very smart with your counter initiation on Tundra. And again, it's leading to a little bit of that stalemate. There's just a lot of risk. No one wants to give openings. It's very smart gameplay from both sides. Very calculated coming out from both sides. Just play for the safer bets. Roshan, we'll see how long it takes. It doesn't look like it should take too long based on the yellow line we're getting out here. They do manage to get the Tormentor for themselves at least. Mobay getting himself a free shard. So a little bit more output for our Tiny. Not that he's going right click anyhow. It's still just a little bit extra when you farm the jungle up, I suppose. You can never say no to that one. And again, it's a stable game. If you do wait out long enough that the Daedalus just flies out for Smiling Knight with a full BKB up on Sibe. Again, the 5v5 clump ups can be a bit scary if you commit too much on either side first. It's just a matter of... It's almost like a game of chicken. You want to see who's dragging out as long as possible without committing, say, to call, without committing Black Hole to slam. Whoever holds out long enough and finds an angle in kind of wins out.
Oh, we are in a bit of a stalemate then, Jonathan, it seems like, as we are going to have a bit of a smoke. 33 in Whitemon. We'll join Crystallis and Soxa, so 4-man smoke now. Here comes BZM as well, a 5-man smoke. They finally want to go for that big team fight. They are still lacking that Daedalus here on Smiling Knight. He still has another 45 seconds to go before the courier's up. So it wouldn't be the worst timing in the world for a fight for Tundra. AC now up on Crystallis as well. Still going to see Desire down bottom, so maybe the chase starts from down bottom, maybe if they go after the Shaker, but BZM unable to see him quite yet, and Desire just going to TP away anyway. So nothing to come out of that either. Maybe Mobay though. BKB's up, looks to TP away, but they've got the call from 33. Mobay, not 100% sure what he's doing in that position, but he does get caught and he is taken down. And Roshan's up.
That's a big opening. Again, it's a core kill you'd want. Again, there's still a threat for counterfight from AVULUS, but it just feels like they're not confident without 5 to try to contest for these objectives. Again, the Roche pit is such a tight spot that feels like you will get a lot of value for that slam, for that black hole with BKD. And they do have vision set up quite nicely. They've got some good traps set up on the ramp area. They've got the ward watching down to the low ground. They know Roche is happening. They just aren't quite in position to contest. They're not going to contest. Another freebie out. Again, when you got Husker, it just doesn't take too long. No riskier for Tundra if you're not clumped up.
No, it's not going to take too long at all. AVULUS is up now, though. They're coming in. They're trying to move into that Roshan pit, but Desire already caught by Sarksa and will go down. Fly is barely able to TP out of there. So they were around trying to maybe set up. They'll find out now the hard way that Roshan is definitely happening. They can see it with the wards anyway, in fairness. And well, now I highly doubt they're going to try and fight. They are trying to keep tabs on the Roshan HP, though. In fact, I say highly doubt, John, they are slowly again moving in. So maybe you do want to try. One good North Strike on BZM and he's just dead. If you can catch the Husker, you'd be very happy. They're going to jump in, Avalanche is out, but BZM, he snatches the Aegis. They'll get the Roshan kill. That's all they've got so far, the AVULUS. So X'd up is the Tiny. He'll be okay to use up and just walk away. They'll jump Zippe instead. Zippe, he's got his BKB, but he's been taunted. He has been taunted and down. Mobay, meanwhile, trying to jump back in as they do buy back on Zippe. They'll lose BZM. That's a big kill. The Husker is down. And suddenly AVULUS, they can continue to force the fighters. They'll take Sarksa as well. Mobay chasing for more, but has no blink available. But they'll find the Aegis life, and well, with that, it seems like AVULUS now looking to go high ground.
I mean, they've got the threat. They didn't have to pop Slam or Black Hole for that team fight. They still have it. It does cost them the buyback on Zippe. So, you know, you did have to commit a little bit here from AVULUS, but you're seeing the effect if you hold out, right? Like, AVULUS are so patient. They're trying to get away with these fights without having to give big spells. The Tundra are also respecting it a lot. They're not clumping up too hard. They're respecting all of these team fight control tools that you have on AVULUS and making it awkward for them to commit, but they're still finding angles. Like, they're managing to find really good angles out for Smiling Knight to not get focused down, to go in for that cleanup with a full Daedalus up. And the damage is overwhelming if the TA is allowed to just go in uncontested without the fear of a call or the life break. So, again, it's just a matter of, can you find a way into these fights? And AVULUS is proving that they can a little bit easier than it is for Tundra. 21 to 21, 4K lead coming out now for AVULUS. One outer tower left here for Tundra. Not out of the count yet. Again, the damage is starting to scale up quite fast for the side of AVULUS. And for Tundra, they're getting more utility out. Octarine's up on 33, more uptime for that call, for the Battle Hunger spam with a shard. You've got that Satanic being completed here by BZM, looking for a casual plate meal as well for some armor to help contend with that physical output on Smiling Knight's TA. Still a ways off. I will say, one big scary timing actually is this Enigma Ags. Like, that pullback in, that the additional control and the additional damage you get with the old Midnight Pulse on top of Black Hole at that point is kind of nuts. And you are all high HP heroes on Tundra. That percent-based damage is good. It's just going to rip you apart if Zippe does find an angle here eventually to get that Black Hole through.
It's certainly very, very interesting, this game number 1 now. 4K advantage for AVULUS. And well, this is what I was saying, John. Like, 8-1 odds just felt a bit too much, in my opinion. I didn't think they were that outmatched AVULUS, and you're kind of seeing it here. You know, it's not really that one-sided of a game. If anything, again, right now, AVULUS, they are in the lead. DOTA Plus giving them a 65% win probability right now at the 37-minute mark, which I certainly agree with. But it is still anyone's game. One bad team fight, and it just swings the other way again. You've still got all the answers on Tundra for the draft of AVULUS as well. They are grouped up top side. All 5 of Tundra hanging around the top left corner of the map. So we are going to have a quick pause out from Fly. I wonder if we look for the twin gate usage into the bottom lane and maybe force another fight here for Tundra.
I mean, again, they have to be so cautious with how they engage. Like, you have to be smart with your call, smart with your life break. You can't afford to double stack that control, as we've seen a couple of times here from Tundra. You need to either keep an eye out for Smiling Knight, because this is the one that you really want to keep pinned down with that call or life break, or just prevent yourself from being stuck in a situation where, again, Black Hole and Slam is just going to cut you off in such a tight spot. Let's see what the call is so far. Not moving towards the Twin Gate just yet. And the siege isn't fully committed upon here by AVULUS. So they're just shoving in the creep wave, still doing a nice amount of damage on that last outer tower. They're trying to get away with a little bit more up top here on the side of Tundra. Willing to trade a tier 2 for a tier 2, but again, mind you, this is your last outer tower here for Tundra. Your map access just shrinks by a huge factor once this tower goes away. And you're going to be in cruise control for AVULUS once that's done. They have so much utility on hand. They've got the full Octarine on Mobe, that classic utility Tiny build, fully online after a very slow start on mid. He's done a great job for himself in this game, being highly effective with the tossbacks. And for Tundra, you know, you're starting to hit a hard cap, right? Like, Satanics are finished up, Crystallis has his, you're close to BZM having his, I believe it's on the Courier actually. There you go. Just into just a casual plate mail, maybe a Shivas if you'd want to upgrade. And then you're kind of fully set, your scaling stops there at that point, which is concerning because this TA still has a Swift Link to go back to. Again, you've got the Ags fully done now for Sibe. So that pull plus the percent-based damage on top of the Black Hole with the Midnight Pulse on top of that as well. Just a ton of output you have to be worried about. Smoke out from Tundra. Do give away that tier 2, but maybe if they can find an angle somehow.
Well, Crystallis is going to see them. There's a lot of hesitation. Like, the initiation just has to be perfect from either team. You don't want to take a fight if you haven't got that right start. 33, he sees the big target though. He's jumped the TA immediately, but Mabe's jumped in to try and help out, and they have not bursted down Smiling Knight yet. He'll get his BKB off. Crystallis now looking to retreat because he doesn't want to man fight the TA by himself. And he will do so as nobody's died. But BZM now jumping in with the taunt out of the life break. Smiling Knight trying to survive, but the dunk is out. 33 gets him. They've found the TA, and that means the fight is over for AVULUS. They've got to run. Three down. All of them have buyback. The Tundra showing signs of life once again here in this game one. You kind of saw the premise of the fight. Just buy as much time to allow that BKB duration to wear off for Smiling Knight, and then it's all over.
Yeah, and again, for AVULUS, you saw the hesitation from Sibe. He was hanging in the tree side, true to call, true that life break as well, and just not going for the Black Hole because he couldn't see the backline. Whitemon wasn't showing himself. Very good positioning out this time from the Rubik to not be in the firing line, to trust that his cores could survive, which they can with how much durability they have with these Satanics up. And if you can't see that Rubik, you can't feel comfy with a Black Hole. Never comes in. You don't get that counter fight you're looking for. Maybe lose a little bit more. No.
I mean, it's just,
should be fine.
It is just tough though. Like, watching the replay, like just watching Sibe stand in the corner, just waiting for the right opportunity. It's just so tough. And this is why, like, if you're gonna choose this hero, you gotta ban Ruby, because this is what happens. You just play a hero that can't do anything anymore. Even if Rubik's Garbage is a hero in the meta, you've got to ban it. It's so scary.
What you do, and it's just, again, it's causing them to hold back a lot more on AVULUS. I expected them to play a little bit better with, say, traps from Smiling Knight. Tried to look for the backline, didn't really happen in the last engagement. And Tundra, they can afford to go ball to the wall. Yeah, they don't need to worry about too much when they jump in. Again, very low committal, very tanky, Tri-Core. Will find themselves a free Tormentor now, free shard out for Crystallis. So the Tidal waves in, some repositional play on hand to drag this TA further back again, especially if the BKB usage isn't on point. They might meet up as well with the gate usage here.
He's even got the Desert Blood right on this Enigma. So like that Black Hole must be massive.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
With the Unleashed as well. Like, it's just a matter of, can you use it? Can you use the damn thing? Like,
You gotta look for the
Ags
back.
upgrade everything.
you know?
Like, it's just somebody's gonna, at some point you've got to use it. These fights are getting too hard if it's 4v5 the whole time.
I'd say it's down to Mobe. Like, he's got to look for that backline somehow. Easier said than done, of course. Maybe in the smoke, they might get a little bit hasty in Tundra. Who knows?
Well, they just used Call on 33 as well. This could be a nice time to try and jump in. If they saw Crystallis, they eventually will now. Jump in though from BZM first. They're going to find Smiling Knight. Mobe though popping his BKB and moving in onto the Kunkka, tossing him into the T2 tower where they could look for the black hole, but the call! 33! He's too quick! He's too damn quick! No buyback on Zibe either. He's not committing it. He's got it. They'll buy back on Desire first. Desire though, it's too late. They've lost Smiling Knight.
Oh boy.
The buyback's not committed. They'll hold out. And now Tundra, they'll see an opening to try and make the move high ground. But you're in a pretty peculiar situation because you've got no buyback on Mobe. So no matter what, you're going to be fighting 4v5 in this. BZM, he knows it too. He's going right after the T4 towers. They'll jump in on Fly, look for the dieback immediately. Fly, though, surviving with the Yules for now, but surely not for long as he's going to drop. What do you do? Mild Strike, oh, it does nothing. X is out, Smiling Knight, caught in that. But they won't be able to lock him down, nor do they really seem to care to. Jump in again onto the Enigma. Zibe forced the BKB, but the call is out again. 33, catching him. Black Hole finally committed, but stolen from Whitemon. Used against them immediately. And with that, I think the game is well and truly over. No need to pretend. There goes Smiling Knight. GG is called. It's Tundra. It took them 44 minutes, but they get the job done here, John. Game one.
Doesn't mind scaling a little bit slower for the reasons you mentioned there, Mikey. You still start with the triple rings of protection here for Soxa, so he will cop some punishment, but he'll be able to run up, spam that Battle Hunger, and he's not going to care. No, it is mainly the right-click threats from the Jakiro and the Terrorblade. You're not going to care too much now on Soxa. I love this. But a Blood Grenade on hand, a chase down with Battle Hunger is going to be sickening. You just kind of need that connection with the Cinderbrew. It's the support axe is actually really strong. The damage per second from Battle Hunger is quite high. You can't underestimate that.
No, I mean, you certainly can't. Even the slow's quite disgusting. Like 18% plus a Blood Grenade on top, an extra 15 is pretty ugly at level 1, and you can already see him trying to look to see if he can find a Battle Hunger target.
30 seconds to battle.
Smoked up is Tundra and AVULUS. AVULUS, they are hanging around this triangle, but they're not quite there yet. Smoke is broken on Desire, so he knows they're around here somewhere. I mean, you do have a clockwork, so you are going to be tempted to go for a level 1 team fight and try to get a nice cogs position, but I dare say it's still a bit scarier from the Tundra end of things. There's 33 and BZM going to rotate towards the top side, see what they find. Meanwhile, bottom, they do get a cogs off here from Desire, but it doesn't really mean much. Ultimately, it looks like it's going to be a 2-for-2 trade in the end anyway. So a nice even start. Nothing to write home about here for either side. And where we do start, John, is the mid lane, where you are going to see BZM against the Quap of Mobe. In the past, Quap would usually dominate the Storm. These days, it is a bit of an outplay matchup.
And it is. You always have that safety net of the static slide to just stand back here on BZM. You can still pump out some decent damage with your Remnant. If the Quap steps a little bit too close, she doesn't have like the biggest distance to play away, especially if she's looking to come close to play with the Shadow Strike. So BZM should be able to find some initial build-up. My concern is when the levels start to go up here on the Quap. Right? Like the fact that you return damage here with that bondage does make it a little bit painful for BZM to try to pump back damage towards Mobe. He's going to be able to have a slight edge there on the Quap every single time, especially as the punishment with Shadow Strike's high. Rune Control is pretty important in that lane, and that's where, you know, you start to ask yourself whether or not this support axe can actually make a movement down to try to help secure or deny water runes, as even the 2-minute mark can be quite impactful here. Chances are you won't have that space to try to at least get that little bit of an edge for BZM. So you can count on Mobe just having a slightly better time. In CS, not quite showing up. Again, BZM's positioning himself perfectly fine.
Fly.
Standing back.
Fly's dead. He's going to go for the TP away. He can't run because the slow is insane. And in fact, he's not dead. Quick thinking from Fly. Able to get away. But Liquid Fire, the attack slow, being just a little bit too annoying here against Saxa and 33. But there's your combination. Like that Cinder Brew plus Battle Hunger, the slow amount just brings you to an absolute crawl. And the damage, it really does hurt, especially for Fly.
And does. Again, it would also hurt Smiling Knight. He just has very little HP to play with. Does at least have the wand with 3 iron branches, so some strength padding here for the TV early on. But I worry about this level 3 timing. With a potential level 2 Battle Hunger, with either the call to interrupt or the Helix to just stand in the middle of a wave. There's a lot of good output here on the side of Tundra that can play with. Just have to punish Saxa while it's early.
Saxa. Oh, they've got him. Smiling Knight. Able to secure first blood here on the TB with that Metamorphosis usage. And, well, that's a very important pick off here for the side of AVULUS. They'll be very happy to see that one.
Yeah. Get yourself a freebie. Start to build up down bot. You are seeing, again, this very natural lane combination for the Darkseer and the Clockwork. Nsibe and Desire are having a bit of a better time. It's not as slow as, say, the Shaker lane, Shaker Enigma lane last time. There is some play, especially as you approach level 3. You do have to be concerned about the Dispel on hand with that Fortune's End, as it does make short work of your shell. Getting a bit greedy here. Not going to be punished too hard for that Lotus.
He'll be okay. Top lane, they were fighting as well. No real punishment from anyone here in this top or bottom lane. Expecting a bit more aggression from top. Like, they do have that... in fact, they didn't go for the 2 Cinder Brew. They do end up going for the Drunken Brawler as bottom lane. Desire. Gonna go for a run. He's gonna be okay. So 33 does opt for the value point in Drunken Brawler rather than the level 2 Cinder Brew. So perhaps not looking to be as aggressive as you would have liked, and maybe just having to wait for that level 4, level 5 mark to really get crazy.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think you can still count on level 3 for Saxa, but although
I mean, they're going after Smiling Knight here. The spins are nice, but Sparks are still going to die. Smiling Knight might eventually go down here to 33, but no. They don't have the damage. In fact, 33 is taking too much now. Smiling Knight's turn. They actually have Reflection. No, they don't. It's on cooldown for 3. 33. He's going to be okay. That's why you go for that value point in Drunken Brawl. That just gives you the opportunity to be able to get out of sticky scenarios like that. But still, props to AVULUS, John. They're outright winning the lane quite nicely here up at top, where I didn't feel like they should have.
yeah, they're not able to find the angles they'd want to cleanly here. You're getting great value out from when Metamorphosis is up. You're seeing better positioning out from Fly. Punishing the double melee is a lot easier as well for the Jakiro, of course. So it is a little bit harder to try to utilize this early damage you do have on the side of Tundra. You do manage to get some room on mid as well. We were seeing BZM just take complete control of mid lane in terms of CS, but being forced out now by Mobe. Some room to try to ramp up into that level 6, giving a recovery for the Plop. Really nice and big in terms of tempo. Still trying to line up for that aggression top. Sox has been pretty sacrificial in terms of EXP. Just hits level 3 now. So I'm wondering if he's going for the 1-1-1 to have that utility with a call, or doubles down on that battle hunger damage. As it does feel like the additional control is almost necessary with the extra armor as well to just even consider a kill.
Not the call, but it's not going to help him too much right now. He just needs to get out of there, and he will do so as 33 also looking to retreat and does get out. A Desire, he does TP in. They do get an ice path, but they're not going to be able to break the gap. Wishful thinking right now. See, Desire still just stuck at level 3, so no way he's going to be able to break the gap that quickly. And so not really finding anything up at this top lane this time for AVULUS. They are still sticking around with both these supports, but it doesn't really seem like much is going to come of it. 33 though. He's heading up back north. Looks like he wants the Healing Lotus, and well, in fairness, he's going to get away with it. Again, with this level 2 Drunken Brawler. Just the Storm Brawler stance allows him to get out of there pretty quickly. But the chase continues. Smiling Knight. Not done with him yet. Looking for maybe a body block. 33 still has the Healing Lotus to play with. Fly is eventually going to think about coming north, but no, he just says, screw it, I'm taking these creeps. These creeps are mine. 33 eventually out of it.
I mean, that's a lot of time committed out, right? That's you're terribly not farming, you're not getting as much XP. Sure, you're cut off as well, fair, but kind of doing the damage you'd want, allowing a little bit of movement out from your support. Sox is just soaking mid. You did get rune control out, of course, when you have the Oracle with that prognosticate. Finding the runes always easier for your side, and they can fight over these Shrines of Wisdom.
Fly will give it a crack, but he's certainly just going to give up his life here. So Whitemon of all people will take the kill. Mobay was also around, but the Quap seeing as Jakura die that quickly does not want to jump in, obviously. So Shrine of Wisdom not going their way, but they do at least get their own shrine. So not really the biggest loss in the world for AVULUS. Though I would get somewhat concerned for their sake, the fact that BZM has just out-CS'd Mobay so nicely here in this mid lane. And of course, while all that's happening, like, you've still got Crystallis, who is completely free farming on the Sven. And naturally that Sven is probably going to be able to keep the net worth advantage his way when you compare to, say, the Terrorblade.
Yeah, and that's really the big concern. When we talk about the early timings of a lot of these cores, the Sven doesn't need much. Mask of Madness, Echo Saber, Blink, you're kind of set to go. Maybe you wait out the BKB. And then you're really set to go to look for an engagement into the Roche. Rune control still completely the way of Tundra, of course. Again, you've got the Oracle advantage there. Second rune coming out from BZM. They're managing to start to build up some stacks now as well. Soxa does go for the level 2 Battle Hunger, could go for level 3 into 5, again increasing that DOT, that magical damage to pressure out onto Smiling Knight. So even though you have that slight kill advantage on AVULUS, like, the lanes still do feel better for Tundra overall. The top lane is still going swimmingly well for Smiling Knight, but again, the bot lane's even better here for the side of Tundra, just free farm. Soxa?
Sox is a bit deep. Soxa will go down. 33. I think he's a little bit safer here in that Storm Brawler stance, but the chase is on with the battery assault, and it is making life a little bit challenging here for 33. Cinderbrew, though, going to connect. And we've seen this one before. They'll leave him alone this time. Tier 1 top tower, though, going to drop. Mobay still trying to chase. Rocket Flare's going to give the vision. The Quap will blink in. 33, he has a TP available, though I don't think he feels confident enough to pop it. So he'll continue running as the Sonic Wave does connect, and this time they will take down the pesky Brewmaster.
Yeah, it's a lot of time, but again, you're killing off a core. It's a slow game for 33, having the lowest net worth among all the cores, barely above his own supports. Not a great start for him, but he has been buying space, right? Like, that's pressure that's not coming out to BZM on mid. That's pressure that's not going out to Crystallis. If anyone was going to die in the map out of all the cores, you'd be happiest if it's the Brewmaster. It's allowing everyone else to, again, get that ramp up. Because the timings, the investment here in Crystallis will pay off. Mask of Madness is already up. Echo Saber not too far off into that blink. They're connecting onto mid as well.
They are, but Mobay, of course, can just blink away. And they could try for Desire if they really want, but what they really wanted is that Arcane rune that just spawned up. Nice little rune here for BZM. AVULUS is still holding the kill score 1-4 in their favor. It's another slower game, 10 minutes in. Not really too much action going on, but you do almost just kind of anticipate it at this stage. You know, like, you've got a pos 4 axe on one side of things. You've got a laning stage that didn't go too well on the other side. So chances are we are going to see at least a few minutes of both teams just trying to secure some initial farm.
Yeah. Just kind of sit and wait for those timings. Again, it's pretty good for both sides to play that way. I'd say the earlier tempo is on Tundra, depending on how willing Smiling Knights to join up with Metamorphosis to kind of offset that. But the Sven is a bigger threat in comparison with his early transformation to the Terrorblade. Just by value of just Echo Saber and Harpoon, Echo Saber and Mask of Madness on the Sven. Just does a lot of work. I think your concern is just how slow the game has been for 2-2-3, but he does have level 6 up. He's got the split. He's got that utility in the ultimate anyhow. They could look to keep applying that pressure.
They are trying. Top lane. Jump is there. 33 will get the primal split off this time around. Looking to take down Fly, but also Cyclones up the TB. Smiling Knight eventually will come down though, but they do finish off Fly. It's Mobay trying to at least trade, does pick off Saksa. So really not a bad trade at all for AVULUS. Is now bottom lane. BZM zipping in, finds Zip 8 bottom lane. 33 though, also gonna die. Up at top, so very even trades happening across the map, with both an off lane and a support dying on either team.
Yeah, they trade equally. Good readout from Tundra to also punish out bot. I think it's a lot better for AVULUS to find these kills. Again, you're getting them all directly onto Mobay. He's starting to snowball a little bit on his Quap. The Darkseer has an easier farming time in the jungle to recover. So trying to offset this gap from the deaths isn't too bad. Still the 9 runes away from Mobay because you've got Prognosticate. Get the haste up on Saksa. But again, if you're AVULUS, you lose Sibe like that, you're fine. You know he can farm in jungle. You know his pacing's not too bad. He's got the Halberd ready to counteract as well if Crystallis does jump in. So things are fine for AVULUS. And they're getting to the point where Blade Mail's almost done on Mobay. A key start for the Bondage Quap. A lot of reflection damage to play with. And again, that tempo is starting to swing for AVULUS. They're starting to get into the groove of aggression. Down bottom.
Yeah, they've got Desire. Nice quick kill for Crystallis. Off the back of the Fortune's End setup from White One. A very quick one. Bit of a scout up from White One just on the tail end to make sure no one else is coming to try and trade here. And well, Mobay was smoked up with Flies. They were heading down south, but they think better of it after seeing how quickly their clockwork does die. Really haven't seen much action from Mobay yet. He was involved in that earlier kill for 33, but still looking for maybe a little bit more. BZM also sitting back quite a bit here on the Storm Spirit. Again, just securing the initial forms of farm. We are seeing that Blink Rush on Saksa, by the way, so just straight into the Phase Boots Wand and the Blink on the support axe, which is really not too surprising at all.
No. I mean, all you need is that control and, you know, just being able to stand back, spam Battle Hunger. I think a free shard would go a long way here for Saksa if they can find that Torm at 20 minutes. Could provide a nice damage spike as well. On top, playing that in and out kind of style for the axe. Still seeing the clump ups from AVULUS. They have their eyes set on this bot tier 1, trying to utilize the vision. They did see White One.
They do. White One shouldn't really have a way out of that one. Smiling Knight will take his life away. 4-0-2 is Smiling Knight. Again, he's had a really nice start to this game. And AVULUS, they'll get through that bottom tier 1 tower. No contest at all from Tundra. And AVULUS, I mean, they'll take a tier 1 and get back to farm. There's nothing else to do here.
No. Again, you just have to wait out. Your spikes are not fully ready on Sibe for the Aura. He's going back for that mech. Maybe the full Guardian Greaves or Crimson Guard as well, just to have some security here in the game. For the side of Thunder, you're still far behind, especially on 33, still bottom network core. Significant gap of at least 1.2k to Sibe on that Darkseer. Still a long ways off from the full Radiance, having to go back for the Midas as well. And yeah, it's just slow going. You've got the slower lineup in Tundra. You need to play the farm game a little bit. You try up top.
Give it a crack. Smiling Knight already less than half HP, but a nice hook shot and a cogs, but there's no Sunder to come. Just maybe too many units getting in the way. Still a big Sonic Wave now out onto Saksa, but the false promise from Waimon gonna save. As Waimon himself will die. 33 still running. I don't think they have the lockdown. Smiling Knight losing his life in all of this. It's a real shame as well, because it was a very nice hook shot and a cogs. In fact, they go in for more. BZM also caught, but a double ice path from Fly, making life a little bit challenging here for Tundra. They are still just kiting in and out of this fight. Mobay will reappear. You've got the TB back up now, but here comes Crystallis popping the God Strength, but doing nothing with it yet. Mobay jumping in again with the Blink Dagger, but with the TB around, they don't really seem to want to force this fight anymore. Saksa, though, may have been left behind, but not quite. White One is still there as Mobay blinking it again, but Crystallis taking down Desire. It was basically a two-shot here from the Sven. Wanting more, not finding the opportunity, though. AVULUS looking like they might have successfully retreated.
but their loss is still a bit of a chase from the support somehow.
Oh, but hey, still being slowed up a hell of a lot with this max battle hunger. I mean, it is a 30% slow at this rate. They've got him locked down. Blade Mail making life a little bit hard. Fly trying to jump in, but they've got the quap. Mobay's already gone. Sucks is still playing with fire as Crystallis now jumping in again, looking for Fly. Fly, though, running out of it thanks to the Heaven's Halberd. Now the clockwork with the hook shot in, finding Saxa. The axe will go down, and Crystallis, meanwhile, still being chased here on the Sven. Will get a Stormhammer, but he's locked down by the Ice Path. He will drop an AVULUS. It's taken them a long time, but they found some nice kills here.
That they do. Tundra overcommit on that prolonged fight with that reflank onto mid on Mobay. I think you're happy enough to just try to take care of the quap, go back, you reset. You didn't have God's Strength up on Crystallis, and trying to play early without the protection of the BKB is costly. And you find yourselves in a good position for AVULUS. Not the biggest one in the world. You draw 200 more gold and then the side of Tundra. Again, in the earlier fight, we saw a good time call out from Saxa to just get the chainstone going. Unfortunately, I don't think the battery assault was actually connecting onto Saxa. He had a window to continue to taunt, continue that control onto Smiling Light, preventing that Sunder. Just making it a very awkward time there for the Terrorblade. For the side of Thunder, again, they're getting a little bit keen to take these engagements. They do have to respect the fact that AVULUS are not tied into as high of cooldowns as they were in Game 1. They will always have the opportunities to play. You are seeing the output of Mobay, of playing with that bondage plus the blade mail. It does do quite a fair bit of damage on BZM if he does try to focus in on the quap solo. And that reflect damage is pretty damn high when you have that facet. They're almost at the timings you'd want for more initiation, though. Saxa is close to his blink, has the Invis run around here.
Saxa. Let's get jumped, though. So Blink going to be maybe a little bit on the delayed end from Saxa, though. A nice save here from Whitemont. Not going to allow his teammate to die, and they won't have the damage output. Saxa will be perfectly fine. 7 to 10 2k advantage now. Again, the main fear factor for AVULUS being that Crystallis is continuing to have a grand old time on this Sven.
Oh.
Hook shot. Saxa is going to get caught. Should be another freebie. Smiling Knight will be around. Though a nice call here from Saxa. Only buying himself time, but it is buying a lot of time. Fly, Ice Path, it will land. Smiling Knight finding another kill for himself. His 6th one of the game.
Yeah. Well, they tried to chase down Sibe up top here with Crystallis, but that Halberd is doing some good work from Sibe. So God's Strength down again. You don't have the follow through this time around from BZM stuck bot. And again, you're stalling on both sides quite nicely. You're sacrificing your support on Tundra to buy space. You're also not able to find the big kills you'd want on Tundra, trading back though. So it is leading to the state of equilibrium. And again, the early spikes for this Sven, it's still there. The BKB timing for Crystallis only the recipe away. However, you look at the build-up in Smiling Knight. He went for the Sanjin Yasha. Could go for the disassembly into the Manta. Maybe the Hurricane Pike as well on top. And they are setting up for a nice take on the Tormentor. They've got good wards to ensure this movement's not going to be contested too easily. They've got the wards down. Maybe going to hunt a little bit, but no one's hanging around top. They can just kind of get that free shard for themselves. And that shard is going to be quite nice. The jetpack always feels good if it ends up in the clock. These men should get the jump mid.
Oh, that's big. Mobay going down. They are taking the Tormentor in the meantime. Oh, no!
Desire? No!
Oh, no! Oh, Smiling Knight, you little devil! Well, why'd you do that? He just wouldn't stop.
No!
It's like he just wouldn't stop.
No. You know how the core players are, Mikey. They got to get that Torm. They got to get the objective. Support lives be damned. They'll get their shard. They'll be happy even if they die. I mean, to be look, really awkward for AVULUS in that you sacrificed 2 supports and your Mobay didn't get the memo to connect top. He was still playing mid. I expected all of them to start clumping up. They were smoked through the gate, and he still hung around trying to work the map. Does get punished. That's a big kill for Tundra. Maybe more.
Zip in. They're going to try and maybe find Zibe here, but Zibe able to get out of range just fine, but 33 now with the Bruling starting onto that tier 2 top tower. It'll be a slow process. Not too big of a deal. Jeez, that Charles on Axe, it really is annoying, isn't it, John? Because if Soxa lands a big call, it just applies battle hunger to everyone. It's just so frustrating to have to think about that 30% slow the whole fight. Not to mention your armor loss as well.
Yep. I mean, the added damage from the armor is huge, especially since, again, you're playing with a lot of Ring of Prots, good value early. They'll start Roshan on the side of AVULUS, nice and sneaky play. Not scattered out by the side of Tundra, but they have an inkling something's wrong. No one's defending top, no one's showing anywhere to farm on the map, no one's under the wards. And could try to contest, it's just a little bit slow.
They might find Mobay though. Mobay getting jumped. They got time. Roshan's still alive. Do they realize it's happening? 33, he's looking. Maybe? No, they don't know. They don't know. Now they do though. Maybe they still take the fight. TB already popping meta. He's already popped meta. Sunder is out, but Crystallis is right on top.
Oh.
We'll lose the Aegis. Not a good start here for AVULUS. And now you have no meta for the fight. And Crystallis, he's right on top again. Chase on, forces him to lock him down. It's going to be a full team wipe here for Tundra. I gotta say, I was quite shocked by that meta usage because, like, Crystallis, he was right in front of the TB at the time. Like, there was no gap to really abuse the Metamorphosis. You didn't have the Hurricane Pike yet on Smiling Knight either. So it just, you know, maybe it was his only attempt because if he lost his first life, chances are the fight was over anyway. But he still had the rest of his squad basically alive, so, you know, it's one of those hard decisions.
Yeah, I mean, the whole squad was alive, but they were also out of position. They ran out of the pit earlier. Right? They're not there to instantly back up TB. They couldn't get big usage out from a VAC wall. Didn't have Fly survive long enough with a backline jump from BZM, and their position was torn apart. I think you really needed to be able to take control in the pit to use that VAC wall. We're seeing the reaction on the camera. Not ideal for AVULUS. You know, 9k behind now, 13 to 11. And Tundra, they're starting to get that foothold in the game. BZM number 2 in net worth. Crystallis still uncontested number 1. Daedalus timing coming out next on her Sven, and that's when things start to get a little bit silly. You have to be so smart with that halberd usage here from Sibe. It has to be at the point where you can't dispel it on Crystallis, but he also has the backup, of course, of Whitemon in the rear. And with the halberd being dispellable, it's not as much of a threat as it used to be because of that change. So whether or not you can actually stop that threat remains to be seen. Desire?
You go bottom lane. Desire probably not making his way out of this one. Meanwhile, BZM killing off Fly as well. So you're going to have a 2-for-0 special here for Tundra. And, you know, I was saying quite a few times that I think Tundra just has the overall better draft. And this is where things get really intimidating now if you're AVULUS. Because Crystallis, he's about to finish the full Daedalus. And I think that's when the Sven, it becomes unbearable. Like, if it wasn't already too much, the Daedalus is going to make it unbearable for AVULUS.
And it is. Again, he's had a free game. He's had that free ramp up. They were winning fights just with the Crystallis earlier on. They're taking map control now on the side of Tundra. You have 19 stacks of Galvanized on BZM. So much mana regen coming out for your Storm. You can just reach across the map. The build up here for Soxa into the Duels is going to be quite nice as well. More control that you have to worry about. Yet you have to kind of watch out for it, getting isolated in the middle of these engagements. You do not have anything like a BKB on Smiling Knight. You don't really have any BKB whatsoever. So there's no debuff immunity to try to play into all of this control that Tundra is starting to leverage quite highly. I think the ideal right now for AVULUS is almost a hit-and-run pickoff game. We haven't seen much aggressive hook shots out. It's been used in defensive fights. It feels like AVULUS needs to be the one to take initiative. You know, they have this mobility, they have this team fight potential. They need to just go on the hunt somehow. It's a little bit difficult with the map state the way it is. You can see the vision again set up by Tundra. Nice and aggressive in most of the usual smoking areas as well on mid and bot. So it is a little bit tougher to try to find an angle out. Don't have too much forward vision either here for AVULUS to try to play that aggression. And if you can't play aggressively with this lineup, then you have to bank on like almost perfect counterplay, right? Like you have to ensure you're not going to get caught out in the 5v5 before you can get the VAC wall combination with your Jakiro. You have to ensure the backline can't get jumped. That's all easier said than done. Tundra has the mobility as well. Tundra has the backline jump to go hunting, and they've been doing it a lot more successfully than AVULUS. I mean, AVULUS has just not been able to be the aggressors whatsoever for quite some time here.
No, it really has not felt like it at all. There's that Daedalus I was just mentioning, John. Chrysalis now having it available, looking for the Satanic next. But this is the stage of the game for AVULUS, where if you lose one big fight, chances are you're losing a couple Raxes, if not the game. Very, very scary indeed, as they found Zibe, and you just see how quick it happens, John.
Yeah.
It's going to be a quick process if they can break the gap with this spell.
A bit of a magic trick. 1-2 and it's gone. Blinking, you'll miss it here from Crystalis. For AVULUS, I mean, their high ground is decent. They've got Vac Wall, they've got Macropyre and Ice Pad. It's just, it doesn't feel like they can find these connections. Like, Tundra will force something out. Tundra will break the backline before you feel comfy to try to get that setup going for yourself. BZM has been a complete menace on the Storm. Yeah, you know, you just throw these big tanky bodies in front. You have BZM hang in the side. Wait for a little bit of commitment, get some information, and jump the back. That's been the game plan here from Tundra, and there's no stopping BZM.
Yeah, immediate zip in from BZM. Absolutely no contest here against this Storm. He won't find the kill onto Fly yet, but it really doesn't matter. They've forced Metamorphosis. They can just back off and wait it out. And that's exactly what they're going to do. I mean, you could look to completely reset on BZM as well, but he's got a nice mana regen anyway. He could probably just wait around the triangle if they want. It might be a matter of waiting for the next Roshan here for Tundra, but I really do believe now that meta's down for a minute and a half, you could probably just try to make the plays, and in fact they will. Fly to go down, BZM seeing an opening. They're going to try and punish him here, but he's got Waimon right behind him. He's not going to die. Not while the Oracle's around. Zip in again, BZM. He'll find a courier. Meanwhile, Chrysalis finding Zipe. That'll be another one, it looks like. The disarm not going to last quite long enough. And I think it's well and truly time for Tundra to consider some high ground. Oh, Smiling Knight. Almost going down. It's the cleave. Almost kills him. Oh, that was close. He's okay. He's alive, John, but he's got no meta.
No.
It's pretty tough without it.
And it is. If you're Tundra right now, you would be looking for high ground. Maybe you wait out for the next God Strength. You don't have that big tool. You're going to get the split back earlier as well for tier 2 free, just sieging away on the tier 2 top. Poking and prodding, trying to make sure that the entire high ground is free. They're playing it safe outside of Tundra. A lot of respect for, again, that potential for a teamfight turn on the side of AVULUS. And again, they're just waiting for tools. BKB's back up in BZM. He's still a little bit far from this fight. It has been the Storm kind of looking for the backline. So you might want to wait for that connection out from BZM first before fully committing. But tier 3 has no patience for that. Split again. Onto the racks he goes. Does not take too long with these Brulinks, and they're not even trying. They're not bothering an AVULUS to stop this. They'll just hand the racks for free. They know it's a non-committal Brewmaster push. You can't really do too much about it.
No, you cannot, Jonathan. No, you cannot. There goes one Rax. Nice and easy. Yeah, Tundra taking literally 0 risks here in this game 1 and 2 for that matter. It's just very, very conservative gameplay here from Tundra, but also very clean, of course. No openings for AVULUS.
Radiant are scanning.
And I mean, they get a bit of time to farm. I mean, Smiling Knight's trying for the Manta into the Skadi build up. Even then, like, it just, if Chrysalis breaks the gap and gets 3 hits on you, you're just gonna die instantaneously. That's the big issue, right? Like, how many items do you need to actually tank the hits from Crystalis at the moment?
A lot. You need way too much. And again, if you just focus this on someone else with a cleave, you're still gonna cop a lot of damage anyhow. Chasing.
Oh, Chase is on. BZM, I give it 3 hits. There you go. Chrysalis. Nice and easy. Tormented time. A lot of TPs. You're already here, boys. You may as well just take it. Why not?
Nice and free. No one dying to this one as well. Free shard off for BZM, surprisingly,
nice.
as everyone else has their shards up. Well, actually, how does Whitemon lose that 50-50? Come on. Reign of Destiny? Ice Frog?
No,
the
sir.
Oracle doesn't get it?
No.
You get the Overload bounces instead? Really?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Ah, poor Whitemon.
Not much you can do about it, John. Our support players, we don't get anything. Bottom lane. A call out from Saksa. Smiling Knight, double Battle Hunger. Look how slow he moves, John.
Oh,
Triple
my
Battle
Lord.
Hunger. Just let him walk. There's a surge out. That'll help a little bit until... Oh, he wears off anyway. He's all right. Stun. Oh, the Rock. Chase. Cyclone. It's going to be onto the Darkseid. And that'll be the Darkseid down. Fly also dying a BZM apparently across the map. And they found Smiling Knight. 33. Catching him with the Cyclone. It's still not enough. The BZM's coming from a mile away. Parasma up and everything. God like the BZM. Looking for more. And AVULUS, you might just want to call this one, I think. This game 2 looking pretty over to me.
That it is. They have buybacks, they have their ultimates. They could try for a back wall macro pyre with a sonic wave on top, perhaps. They know the split that's done. Godstrand's still there though, so Crystal is still a major issue, of course. They're gonna hold out. Respawns are short. We'll see. I feel like one last hurrah. If they can get a good setup on that team fight potential, perhaps they can stall for time, but at the least it's not Megas. Tier 2 still stands top, so we can't swing for the full happy death gameplay here on Tundra. It will hold back. AVULUS, again, getting the respawns up, but a Tier 2 will still go. They have the amp damage up on BZM. I don't think you stop. You've got the split coming back from 33 if he wants to make that non-committal push. We'll play it safe. 31k lead, though. 23 to 11. A little bit of a rough time for AVULUS, and again, it just feels like they've never been able to initiate. We were talking about this potential with Clock to look for the back line, to look for these jumps. Never really came in this game. It's all been Tundra the entire way, being the aggressors. Got access to Roshan now as well, going down without using the God Strength. So a secondary life to play with. A Roche banner as well. Onto BZM. And he can take those full risks. He's got the Sight of Vice. He can just get that instantaneous control. Set up for the burst play. And clean up shop. A perfect game from BZM. 9-0-8 on our Storm. Uncontested. Unkilled. Just a perfect game. Again, we were talking about this in draft. There's no hard hold, no hard punish from the side of AVULUS. It had to come down to Mobe having a great lane, and that just didn't happen this game.
Crystallis moving in, trying to see if he can find a quick snatch. Mobe's going to be pretty cautious on this clock. Things can go very quickly. They get the split going here. 33 right to work. BZM zipping in. We'll see Fly once again. And poor old Fly just can't catch a break. So we'll also find another. Mobe is down. Gentlemen, let the torture end. Don't make them down and dive you again.
Oh, Civi's just hanging on the side. He does have the back wall with a blink.
Let's see how it works. Back wall, it's out onto BZM though. Where's Zippe? He's gone, he calls it. Crystallis knocked him out of this series, I think, in this game too. Well, there you go, AVULUS. Trying their absolute best, putting a better performance up.